My name's Gary Ford, Managing Director of Tiger Hobbies Limited, UK importers and distributors. In our last series we talked about the US forces in Northwest Europe and the staggering number of casualties they suffered going through the West Wall into Germany. In this series we're going to the Pacific, where the US and Allied forces would face fanatical Japanese forces, and in geographical terms, the largest campaign in history. I'm showing behind me some of the first toy soldiers I got as a young boy in the late 1960s, early 1970s, United States Marines and Japanese soldiers, and a model of the Dauntless, my first ever airfix kit. The wonderful artwork by Roy Cross showing the Dauntless attacking the Japanese with zeros on its tail and the radio man gunner using his twin 30 cals to beat them off. It's what started my interest in the Pacific War. I spent time going down the local library, finding as much as I could, including watching some of my favourite old black and white movies from the 1940s and 50s, such as the Fighting Seabees about the US Navy construction battalions. They were not expendable, and the PT boats, and of course John Wayne in his most iconic role of World War II, the sands of Iwo Jima. The Pacific is sometimes looked upon by us British folk as a bit of a backwater, but to the USA it's their blitzkrieg and the Battle of Britain, with the attack on Pearl Harbor, defeating the Philippines and stopping the Japanese at the pivotal Battle of Midway in June 1942. Due to my interest in this field, we at Tiger Hobbies have a vast selection of plastic model kits and die-cast models of subjects from the Pacific Campaign. Subjects such as aircraft carriers and their planes, plus battleships, cruisers and destroyers. Sadly, the ground element has been a little overlooked for many years, and the model companies are starting to bring a few more ground models out from the Pacific. So we've got Fine doing some interesting Japanese Army subjects, and Dragon with kits of the US Marines from Guadalcanal, Tarawa and Iwo Jima may be coming back soon, and I'll be certainly pushing for this. Like the last video series on the US Army in Northwest Europe, I will split this into a series of about 6 segments of approximately 10 minutes each. We will cover a brief history of Japan going back almost 800 years to the Mongol invasion and the rise of modernity in the 19th century to the attack on Pearl Harbor. We'll look at the development of the aircraft carrier, now the most important capital ship for the world's navies. Also the USA fighting back at the Coral Sea and at Midway. We will then turn to the USA on the offensive in the Solomons and the start of the Central Pacific Campaign under Admiral Nimitz. Finally to the US Navy dominating the Central Pacific in the Marianas, and on to the most vicious battle ever fought by the US Marines, Iwo Jima. Later on, I will do a later series about the Southwest Pacific, as in this series I'll be concentrating on the Central Pacific and Admiral Nimitz.